Deep within the dusty archives of yet another extinct civilization, an alien archaeologist's tentacles trembled as they deciphered the ancient warning glyphs. Not because the translation was particularly challenging. Universal translators had long perfected the art of decoding the final messages of extinct species, but because this was the 47th identical warning they had discovered about Earth. The archaeologist's research assistant, a being composed primarily of floating geometric shapes and academic anxiety, hovered nervously nearby. Don't tell me. Let me guess. Something about the humans and their offspring. How did you know? The lead archaeologist's bioluminescent spots flickered in the universal pattern for sarcasm. Because that's what all the warnings say. At this point, I'm convinced the universe is playing some kind of cosmic practical joke on us. Like all the others before it, the warning was engraved into what appeared to be an indestructible material. Though, given that the civilization that created it was undeniably destroyed, the irony was apparent to everyone. The message glowed with an eerie luminescence, seemingly designed for maximum dramatic effect. Beware the Earth spawn, their young trained for war through play. We learned too late. You know what's really starting to worry me? The research assistant's geometric form shifted into what xenoanthropologists recognized as a universal shape of concern, a multidimensional squiggle. We've found the same warning from civilizations that never even contacted each other, species that existed millions of years apart. The lead archaeologist's tentacles twisted into a knot so complex that a quantum physicist would require therapy to untangle it. You're suggesting this isn't just convergent evolution of paranoia. I'm suggesting we might want to actually look at what human children do for fun. The research team had established their base camp within the ruins of what had once been a mighty empire's last outpost. The irony of using the remains of a civilization, one that had apparently been annihilated by playground games, as a place to study playground games was not lost on anyone. Their advanced scanning equipment hummed softly, processing data from Earth's various entertainment venues. The preliminary results were concerning. Look at this analysis of their so-called playgrounds. The assistant projected a hologram displaying brightly colored equipment. Those metal bars? Perfect for developing upper body strength and spatial awareness. The slides? Training for rapid tactical descent. And don't even get me started on the monkey bars. Surely you're overanalyzing. The lead archaeologist's words trailed off as they watched footage of human children attempting to traverse the monkey bars while hanging upside down. By the void, that's advanced zero-gravity movement training, the temporal dating system they had brought along, guaranteed to be accurate to within one cosmic sneeze, confirmed that these warnings about Earth's young spanned at least 7 major galactic cycles. Species that had mastered faster-than-light travel, constructed Dyson spheres, and solved the universal coffee shortage had all fallen, apparently, to opponents whose training regimen included something called hopscotch. Should we inform the council? The assistant's geometric form shifted into what looked suspiciously like a distress signal. And tell them what? That we found evidence human children are secretly training for galactic domination through playground games? They'll think we've been drinking fermented stardust. At that moment, their scanners detected a new transmission from Earth, something labeled a children's birthday party. The footage showed small humans engaged in what appeared to be ritualistic combat, training disguised as entertainment. Are they hitting a suspended object with sticks until it explodes, releasing supplies? The assistant's shapes practically vibrated with horror. While blindfolded, the archaeologist confirmed grimly. They call it a piñata. Apparently, it's fun. As they observe more footage, their universal translators work overtime to process the various games being played. Each translation seemed more ominous than the last. Duck, duck. Goose equals circular pursuit training with randomized target selection. Simon says equals command structure obedience drilling. Red Rover equals barrier breach tactics. The lead archaeologist's tentacles had finally contorted into a knot so intricate it qualified as a new form of abstract art. You know what the worst part is? That they're actually enjoying it. The assistant hovered anxiously. Exactly. They've turned combat training into entertainment so effective that their young begged to participate. In the background, their AI research assistant had started compiling a database of human children's games, but had to pause for emergency recalibration after trying to comprehend something called musical chairs, which was clearly a sophisticated exercise in resource competition and territorial conquest, thinly veiled as innocent amusement. The warning continued to glow ominously on the ancient wall. What once seemed like paranoid ramblings now felt like a desperate attempt to save future civilizations from humanity's most ingenious invention, the weaponization of fun. The research team's observation post, disguised as an ice cream truck, since that was apparently the only vehicle human children wouldn't question, as it circled their neighborhoods, was filled with the most sophisticated monitoring equipment in the galaxy. Currently, all of it was focused on what the locals called a playground, and every single sensor reported data that made the researchers wish they had stronger space coffee. The statistical analysis makes no sense, muttered the quantum probability expert, their crystalline form vibrating with frustration. According to these readings, human children are simultaneously engaged in 17 different types of combat training, while genuinely believing they're just having fun. The behavioral analyst, a being of pure energy contained within a research suit, flickered anxiously. Look at this game they call The Floor is Lava. It's a perfect simulation of hostile environment navigation. They're learning terrain adaptation through imaginary magma on their monitors. Children leap from furniture to furniture, displaying the kind of spatial awareness most species had to learn in expensive military academies. The fact that they were giggling while doing it only made it more unsettling. The pattern recognition is undeniable. The lead researcher's tentacles twisted around their data pad. Every single game serves multiple training purposes. Take this follow the leader activity. It simultaneously teaches command chain protocols, terrain navigation, group coordination, endurance training, and obstacle course proficiency. And they think it's just copying silly walks. The team's AI had started categorizing games by their military applications, but had to be rebooted 3 times after encountering something called Mother May I, which it insisted was actually an advanced permission-based infiltration protocol, disguised as a simple game. The research team's final report read less like an anthropological study and more like a military threat assessment. Earth Children's Activities, a comprehensive threat analysis ***. Games appear designed for maximum training efficiency. Combat skills are disguised as entertainment. Psychological warfare elements present in all major activities. Evidence suggests the system has been in place for generations. Conclusion: they have weaponized fun itself. As they watched a group of children organize an impromptu game of cops and robbers, complete with complex tactical maneuvers that would make special forces units jealous, the team came to a horrifying realization. Every fallen empire's warning had been right. And the most terrifying discovery of all, they're constantly inventing new games. The research team struggled to keep pace as human games evolved faster than their analysis could track. Their AI attempted to predict future developments, but crashed after calculating that human children would likely be playing quantum entanglement-based games before most species even discovered quantum physics. The pattern recognition specialists were shaken when their findings disrupted the quantum probability field. Similar games were emerging independently across the globe, their core combat principles eerily preserved across vastly different cultures. This suggested that human play wasn't random. It was an adaptive system refining strategic effectiveness over generations. The psychological profiling team had to take immediate leave after analyzing the generational impact. Combat knowledge wasn't just preserved. It was ingrained from the earliest ages, disguised as entertainment. Playtime honed tactical instincts, with each new generation becoming more efficient. A prehistoric games analyst painted an even more unsettling picture. The earliest recorded human activities showed the same trend. Rock throwing evolved into targeting games. Hunting practice became chase games. Combat techniques transformed into dance, and survival skills were embedded within childhood play. Their theoretical model suggested this pattern stretched back to humanity's very origins. Then came the most alarming discovery. The team's temporal mathematics expert found that human games were advancing at an exponential rate. Their models predicted that by the time most species achieved interstellar travel, human children would already be mastering complex space combat simulations. The lead researcher's final report concluded with a chilling realization. By disguising military training as entertainment, humanity has inadvertently created a civilization where every member is constantly refining the art of war, without even realizing it. The AI's historical analysis subroutine provided one last observation. Humans seemed aware of this pattern on some level. Their culture frequently referenced the phrase, "The more things change, the more they stay the same." Whether they recognized it as an evolutionary strategy or not, they had maintained combat readiness for millennia, through nothing more than play. As the team compiled their findings, they watched a group of children effortlessly modify a traditional game to incorporate modern tactical concepts. The ease with which they adapted ancient combat training to new strategies sent several researchers into emergency therapy. The day's final log entry read, "This is not a recent development. It is the continuation of a system so ancient and effective that it has outlasted every civilization that recognized it for what it was. Perhaps that's why humanity survived, while the others did not. They saw the pattern too late." The Modern Analysis Division's latest report triggered a level of alarm that required the findings to be delivered in small doses. Any faster, and it risked inducing full-scale panic. Human video games, it turned out, weren't just simulations. The digital entertainment analyst's holographic projections flickered as they spoke in distress. These are fully immersive combat training programs disguised as fun. They detailed how humanity's most dedicated players, called gamers, might as well be labeled pre-trained combat specialists. The team watched in horror as children mastered advanced strategic thinking through a game called Minecraft. What appeared to be simple block placement was, in reality, a rigorous training exercise in three-dimensional spatial awareness, resource management, and fortification construction. The fact that they could build functioning computers within the game suggested an unnatural level of engineering comprehension, at an age when most species were still learning basic arithmetic. Meanwhile, the Sports Analysis Division fared no better. Their lead researcher's crystalline form developed a permanent stress fracture while studying what humans called competitive athletics. "They've turned running away into an Olympic sport," one analyst reported, voice trembling. "They've transformed accurate projectile throwing into multiple championship events. Even climbing obstacles is a recreational activity. Every single sport trains some aspect of combat capability." The virtual reality specialists had to be sedated after uncovering a game called Beat Saber. "They think they're dancing to music," they whispered from their recovery pod. "But they're actually mastering complex blade movements with split-second precision." Even seemingly innocent playground equipment turned out to be suspiciously well optimized for combat training. The structural analyst report read more like a military facility assessment. Climbing frames mirrored urban warfare scenarios. Swings trained momentum and aerial awareness. Slides perfected rapid descent techniques. Monkey bars developed upper body strength and traversal skills. And they keep calling it fun. The dance game study was even more disturbing. Researchers had to request emergency leave after concluding that these harmless rhythm games were, in fact, identical to combat maneuver training. They're learning footwork, spatial awareness, and coordinated group movement, all under the guise of music. The mobile gaming specialist discovered that even phone apps were part of the pattern. They're turning waiting rooms into training grounds. They reported, their energy form flickering with anxiety. Every idle moment is an opportunity for strategic thinking and combat simulation. The behavioral analyst report emphasized the most unsettling aspect. Modern games encourage teamwork, strategic communication, and competitive improvement, all while fostering a drive for mastery. "They call it getting good," the analyst noted, their tendrils twisting in distress. We call it achieving combat proficiency. The esports division's findings only deepened the unease. Humanity had turned combat training into a spectator sport. Children watch professional gamers to study advanced tactics, mimicking strategies with a dedication usually reserved for military academies. The prize pools were large enough to suggest that humanity took this very, very seriously. The neural interface researcher had a breakthrough moment that required immediate vacation time. These games aren't just entertainment, they muttered. They're rewiring human brains for combat efficiency at the neurological level. Even educational games weren't exempt. Math programs taught ballistic calculations. Science games covered principles of weaponry. History games recreated military campaigns in detail. There's no escape read the final note before the educational software analysts submitted their resignation. The AI assigned to analyze humanity's entertainment trends delivered its final, most terrifying report. The games are evolving faster than we can study them. By the time we understand one training method, they've already created 3 more. As the researchers compiled their final observations, they watched in stunned silence as a child effortlessly coordinated a 40-player raid in an online multiplayer game, displaying leadership and tactical skills that would qualify them for command positions in most galactic militaries. The modern analysis concluded with a chilling realization. They have gamified warfare so thoroughly that their children voluntarily train for combat daily. Without realizing it, the most unsettling part, they were having so much fun that they kept inventing new ways to make their training even more engaging. In the background, a child's voice echoed, "Just one more battle pass, please." Several researchers immediately fled the room in terror. The Emergency Galactic Council meeting shattered multiple records. Fastest assembly time, highest attendance, and most stress-induced molecular breakdowns in a single session. 3 different species evolved mid-meeting, purely out of survival instinct. The lead researchers summarized their findings grimly. Every warning from every extinct empire was correct. If anything, they underestimated the danger. Humans have built the most sophisticated combat training system in the galaxy, and they did it by accident. The chamber erupted into chaos. A desperate proposal was made. What if we copy their methods? Train our own young the same way? The psychological warfare expert's hologram flickered. We tried. They built replicas of human playgrounds. Their young saw monkey bars and asked why they had constructed tiny prisons. They created sports leagues. The games turned into negotiations over rule ownership. They developed video games. The players refused to engage in anything without a diplomatic treaty first. The statistical analysis was damning. By age 12, the average human child had mastered more combat techniques than most trained soldiers. The Council's final report was an exercise in bureaucratic panic. Recommended action. Hope they keep thinking it's just for fun. As the meeting ended, another report arrived. Human children had begun inventing games that incorporated quantum mechanics. The fact that they were doing this without understanding quantum mechanics only made it more terrifying. The Council's resolution? Join their next game night and pray for mercy.